Before I start, just wanted to let you know this image is from my coloring book, Coloring Dreams. Hi, it's Dia. Today I'm going to take this image and I'm going to use Turpenoid and a blender or flat angle brush and see how Crayola crayons, your basic Crayola crayons in that good old 64, actually I had a 92 box, responds to Turpenoid or mineral spirits. So I didn't waste any time and I just dipped the brush in and I was very careful because I didn't know how all that wax was going to spread around. Um, and I found pretty quickly that it responds pretty much like any other colored pencils. Well, not any other. I would probably say it responded more like Prismacolor pencils. And I was very careful at first and soon found out I didn't have to be that careful. The dark areas like this, the ant's face, you have to be a little more careful. The black in that set is incredibly pigmented and the color does move around a bit and you can start to get a feeling like you're using either watercolor or a wash of acrylic paint. And all it is Turpenoid. And it kind of almost reminded me of, remember when we were kids and we had those books that you could dip your paintbrush in water and go over an area that kind of had little speckles or dots on it, and voila, suddenly you saw color. And depending on what area you went over, the dots turned blue or pink or green, and it was a really nice way to paint or color without the big mess. This kind of reminded me of that. Oh, real quick, several of you asked me about that bracelet. That's a touchstone crystal bracelet with Swarovski crystals. And I got mine from Kim Visconti Carnevali, and I'll put her link down below for anybody who's interested. But back to the picture. This was a very interesting experiment because, like I said, it was it was fun and it was actually very quick. And I quickly realized, like I said, I didn't have to be that careful except for the black. I switched brushes here too because I wanted to see if that less fancy brush, that's just sort of a pointed round brush, was going to get better results. And it was better for those skinny areas like those legs and the antenna. But I think the other one actually worked better because it was able to move the pigment around a bit. And like I said before, it was able to give me that nice watercolor effect. So by this point in the process, I knew that I didn't have to be that careful. So I grabbed the blending brush and I just went over the whole bottom area, the ground and the rocks, and just quickly blended it all together. Now I want to thank 699 Jude, Snooby, Sue Gregory, and J.L. Watson for giving me this idea to blend the Crayola crayons. A few of you said that I should use not watercolor, mineral oil, but I wanted to be able to go over it afterwards with either colored pencils or paint, so I figured I had a better chance to use mineral spirits. And the other thing about mineral spirits is that they dry really quickly. So after I did this, I did go over it at the end with some Prismacolor colored pencils, and I picked Prismacolor not because they're fancy or they're wonderful, but because the Crayola is the ultimate in wax base, and I know that Prismacolor is in wax base too, so I used them. And I do want to thank everyone again for their wonderful suggestions, and if you ever have any ideas, feel free to put them in the information box below because I love hearing them. I love chatting with you guys, and as you know, I hope you know, I appreciate you so much. I don't think I would have personally even thought to use anything over the top of crayons because the box was under $5 and I just figured that was it. I was going to get the results, which was fine, and I had a ball, but then I could even take it further, which was very cool. So thanks again. So here I'm adding some highlights with a white Prismacolor pencil. And it also added to the blendability of the crayons also. It made it look smoother, and I had a really good time. So this whole thing made me think that using unusual coloring supplies or supplies that you wouldn't think of normally sort of opens your mind up to different ideas. You have less attachment to the outcome because you don't think it's going to be anything wonderful, or you're kind of expecting it to be weird or and sometimes that's the best time to get wonderful ideas and interesting results. I think about people that accidentally use coffee in their designs. They spilled coffee and they use it for a shadow or for making little creatures or whatever. That wouldn't have happened if that very odd supply, for lack of a better word, wasn't used in the first place. So give it a whirl. Use a pencil to color. Use basically anything. Makeup, a child's set of watercolor paints, highlighters, whatever you can get your hands on. I was also wondering what it would be like if I put some wax paper over the top and ironed it or hit it with a blow dryer, because the wax that you lay down with those crayons is pretty intense. It's pretty thick in certain areas, especially if you're going for full coverage. So I was wondering if it would blend together, if it would smush around, but I'll save that for another video. So as you can see, I added some details with some greens. I went over the top of the rocks with some 50% gray and some other kind of neutral colors just to bring that area to life. And I don't think I went over it again with the mineral spirits. I just left it as is. And then I went over it with, I think this was either sepia or something similar, some kind of a brick red. Then I just added some more shadows with some grays to the rocks to make them stand out from the background a bit. I just had a whole lot of fun with this. So I added a little bit of a highlight to the opposite side of the water droplets to make it look like some of that sunlight was shining through. So that's it. Thank you so much for joining me for this fun experiment. And I hope to see you soon. I hope you subscribe to me or hit like or leave me a comment. I appreciate you all very much. And thanks for joining me. I will see you soon in my next video. Thank you. Bye.